the designing organization structure. That is the second topic of this lecture number 4. So, under the designing organization structure, before we take into the structure consideration or structure identification or constructing a structure, we need to understand the 4 parameters of the organization structure and what are and how they are being involved in framing a structure. Now, they are: first one, organizational hierarchy; second, authority and responsibility; fourth, delegation of authority; and last is span of management. Now, these are the 4 parameters which are supposed to be taken into the consideration when we are framing the structure as such. Now, based upon the organization structure, as said, the first point is the organizational hierarchy. Under the organizational hierarchy, what does that mean in the organizational hierarchy is with related to the process of the diagram which we have noted, that is the angle of top level, bottom level and the middle level. Now, under this particular levels, we have understood structure, we have understood the structure, that is organizational hierarchy. Now, here it is from top to bottom, and similarly if we go on the reverse side, it is under the low level, that is or from bottom to top on the reverse side. Now, what does that imply? The bottom level, there will be more in number, and this more in number will be reporting to one superior. And if you go from top to bottom, it will be in such a manner that there will be one person and n number of employees will be reporting under him. So, why that structure will be, or that particular level of top to bottom and bottom to top is what is referred as an organizational hierarchy. Now, more the number of layers, that means more the number of layers, it will become very narrow structure. It will become very narrow structure. So, narrow structure will be how? It will be very narrow, that means hierarchy, it will be more vertical in the structure. Now, if you are having more number of subordinates, then in case of more number of subordinates, how it will be? It will be more, right. So, if we see in the case of this kind of a structure, the more the number of subordinates, it will lead towards the broader or the organization as such. Now, what does that mean in terms of broader is more number of subordinates, right, more number of subordinates and less number of superior as such. Now, this all of organizational structure. So, coming to the second point, that is authority and responsibility. Authority and responsibility is what? It is about how the superior or to what extent the superior is given a hold on the subordinate, and to what extent he is given the power to control the subordinate. That is what is called as authority and responsibility as such. And as said that as an individual, as a superior, when he has an authority on the subordinate, he also need to fulfill the responsibility so that the subordinate will have an respect towards the superior when he has more responsibility than the subordinate as such. As example, if I point with related to authority and subordinate, in such case, if I say the superior, right, superior, in that case if the subordinate is there, right, subordinate. Now, if the individual is having an less responsibility and the superior is having an more responsible, then the organization structure will be have a smooth flow of an process which is from authority and responsibility. But if in case the lower person will have an lesser level of responsibility, then we say that the bottom person having more authority than the superior, then the structure which is being designed is not a good structure as such. Now, coming to the next one, that is the delegation of authority. Delegation of authority is about what currently we have discussed with related to the percentage of the power or the control over the subordinate. Now, the subordinate has a lesser authority and the superior will have a more authority, and similarly the superior reporting to his superior will be having more authority as such. So, that is the chain goes on, that means the authority, when we say the how it will have a connection in the process of authorities. Now, as the diagram of the top level to the bottom level, authority will go on increase as we are going from the bottom level to top level. That means the bottom level is what? It is the low level management, right, and the middle, it is middle level management, and it is the top level management. Under this, the authority will go on increase as we are going higher the ladder. That means the top level management, whoever is the most top person of the organization, will have the highest level of authority as such. That is what we call as a delegation of authority. If it does not been happening in such a manner, then how it will have implication in the structure of the organization will have some impact as such. That means the structure would have been made some error, or the structure would not have been a better structure in terms of organization as such. That is why we need to have an understanding of the how and to whom to delegate the authority as such. And coming to the final one, that is the span of management. Under the span of management, it is about how extent we have the subordinates and how extent the subordinates are there. Based upon that, the relationship will have an implication, because the relationship in a case of a structure is horizontal as well as the vertical level of structure as such. This is vertical structure and this is horizontal structure as such. So, vertical structure and the horizontal structure, how it has an application is, the more number of relationship will go on increase as the span of the management is been increased. Now, this relation should be in such a manner where the ideal level of the span should be identified. That means a superior and the subordinate relationship, right, should be in such an level that an extent number whatever it is, that number has to be identified through the span of management. That number of superior to subordinate number is what is called as span, and that will give the best organization structure in terms of maintaining the subordinate to superior relationship more better, and overall the structure of the organization to be more better as such. Okay. We will see the span of management under the next slide, how it happens to be and how the relationships are said to be. Now, these are the three parameters which we need to understand about the span of management. Now what are this? Number of all kinds of relationship, and that is the capital N. Capital N is the number of all kinds of relationship, where small n is equal to number of subordinates reporting to a manager. This is number of subordinates. So, we can say that based upon the number of subordinates, an overall relationship of the organization is being identified. Now, that is what is called as the span of management as such. Now, in the process of this, if we try to calculate, right, now if we try to calculate what will be the number of relationship. Now, say for example, and subordinates there are normally 3 in number. Okay, we will take the small n is equal to 3, and that small n is equal to 3 is nothing but number of subordinates reporting to a manager. Number of subordinates reporting to a manager. That means a superior, right, having a subordinate, right. How many number? They are 3 in number. So, 1 is being reported with 3, that means 3 are reporting to the superior. Now, in such case, if n is equal to 3, what will be the equation? the equation n is equal to 3 into 2 to the power 3 minus 1 plus 3 minus 1. Now, this is what the equation gives. Now, we calculate how much it is. 3 into 3 minus 1 2. So, 2 2s are 4 plus 3 minus 2 again it is 2. So, 3 into 6 is equal to 18 relationships are there in the case of n being 3. That means, if an superior is having a subordinate of 3 members, in such an organization only with 3 members as the subordinate, in that situation itself the number of all kind of relationship means it is the cross relationship and the direct relationship, both the relationship put together is what is the capital N. So, how many number are there? If the total subordinates are, that is small n is equal to 3, then in that case the number of relationship is equal to 18 in number as such. So, this gives the calculation of number of relationships as such. Okay. We will go to the next one, next slide. Right. So, the next is an example of the structure or example of the similar kind of an organization structure. Now, having this particular structure, right, how we need to, this structure has been framed based upon the how to what extent the relationship can be made more strength and how effective it can be done, so that the kind of an instruction from the top to bottom level is very effective. Now, related to that we have an vice chancellor and the rector reporting to vice chancellor, and next register reporting to rector, and under the register we do have a principal college of engineering Hyderabad, a principal college of engineering Secunderabad, and principal college of engineering Kakinada. Now, a simple organization start. Now, what does that mean? These 3 principals report to register, and in turn register report to rector, and rector report to vice chancellor. A simple level of organization structure. So, what we can understand here, a vice chancellor, if he want to communicate something to the principal, he would not communicate directly to the principal. It is a channel or a flow of a direction. He would instruct to rector, rector would pass on to register, and register in turn will pass on the messages or the information to the respective principals of the respective colleges. Now, that is an example of simple flow of an organization structure, right. Now, coming to the next one, it is the designing organization structure, some examples of the modern trends in the organizational structure design. Currently there are n number of different structures have been framed than the olden days of an organization structure. It has been framed or been formed due to the need or the necessity has been made or been there to make such type of organization structure, which does not suit to any of the older versions of the organization. Now, such type of organization structure are, the first one is virtual organization, second one cellular organization, third team structure, fourth boundaryless organization, and the fifth one is inverted pyramid. Now, under the first one, the virtual organization, we have the understanding of virtual organization is any organization which may not be able to frame a structure due to their presence in a large geographical area, or an organization structure wants to frame in a number of area or located in different areas as such. Now, to frame an organization with related to such type of an organization, we best suit to the structure organization is virtual organization. That means, it is not existing as an organization, but we would have been made the presence of employees in the different locations to work together in such a manner that they frame to the virtual organization. And once the particular organization work is been completed, that type of organization gets dissolved as such. That means the organization get dissolved when that particular kind of an work is being completed. Now, that is the virtual organization. We all understand what is the meaning of virtual, which is non-existing, but really that is what is called as virtual. Similarly, in organization structure also, as per the structure it does not exist. That means someone, a CEO sitting in Delhi, whereas his subordinate sits in somewhere in US, he works over there. So, different location or locality, but all work together to complete the task which is given to them. That process is what is called as virtual organization. Now, coming to the second one, that is cellular organization. In case of cellular organization, this is most both, right, virtual organization as well as cellular organization, and even the team and boundaryless, all these organizations are been evolved from the industry which is called as the software industry as such, right. Now, the cellular organization, it is the smallest structure in an organization. That means a few people frame or form in the form of a cell, and that particular formation of an self and working towards the organization requirement is what is called a cellular organization. That means, and each and every cell would consist of 8 to 10 employees or 8 to 15 employees. Similarly, there will be number of such type of cellular employees as such, and all this cellular employees or cellular structure will work towards the organization requirement as such, right. Now, that is what is called as cellular organization. That means they are being given with only one specific task, and that task is being given to them to have an rigorous commitment from the similar kind of employees as such. That is why we call as a cellular organization. That means similar kind of employees are being made into one group, and those that particular people are being made to work towards that particular requirement of task. Example, if a testing team is there in project completion, now this testing team alone is framed in the form of a cellular, and that testing team, what do? They work only for the testing of the work or the software whichever is been completed. Now, that kind of a process is what is called as a cellular organization. Now, coming to the third one, it is a team structure. Now, what do we mean by team structure is, team is a formation of the number of employees, and that team is being made based upon the necessity of the project. That means the employees change the team once the project is being completed. Suppose today if I am working for one project, after the completion of that particular project, I may be appointed in some other team. That means that is what is called as a team management or team structure as such. So, based upon the necessity of the project or necessity of the work to be completed by the organization, the team would have been formed, and based upon the team which is being formed, that team completes the task, and once the task is been completed, the employees dissolve or the structure of team is been dissolved, and employees go and work towards the other team which is been newly formed. Now, that process of the management or structure is what is called as a team structure as such. So, next to team structure, it is boundaryless organization. The meaning of boundaryless organization is, the organization structure does not have the boundary. At what level? At 3 level. It does not have a boundary with related to vertical level, it does not have a boundary with related to horizontal level, and it also does not have the boundary with related to external level. Meaning, they can acquire n number of employees in the vertical level, they can acquire n number of employees in the horizontal level, and also they can acquire the employees from the other than the existing in the organization, that is externally. Now, they get the employees into the process and to complete the task only. That means, the boundaryless organization is for a certain specialized task, or they frame such type of organization only for certain specialized task, and that specialized task may be happening once in a while only, not a regular kind of an organization structure. Example, if you take in case of a steel plant, they had a failure in terms of implementation of the project. During that time, they have appointed one agent, and that agent was been linked to the internal and the external employees as such, so that they study the particular structure completely, why the failure was, and after that they give the report as such. Now, that kind of an making the rights to an individual team is what is called as a boundaryless organization, and clearly mentioning boundaryless organization is been framed especially or specifically for a specialized task, and once the specialized task has been completed, the complete dissolving of the organization structure happens, and the people who have come from the external resources will go away from the organization as such. And coming to the next one, the last one in terms of the modern trend, it is inverted pyramid. Now, inverted pyramid, how it works out? Inverted pyramid, it is the reverse of the hierarchy as such. Normally, we have seen the hierarchy from top to bottom level. Now, in case of inverted pyramid, we have the other way down. That means, the low level would be at the top and the top level will be on the low level as such. And why to have such type of a scenario? Because the low level, when they feel that they are responsible, in the top level, then they will be working towards the more consciously and more committed towards the organization. So, previously we have seen the diagram which was in this format. This is the normal pyramid format, where we have 3 layers, that is the top level and the middle level and the low level. But in case of inverted pyramid, that is the other way, that is the low level are on the top and middle level are at the middle and the top level are at the bottom. Why? The low level also should be on the top, so that the employees would be having or would be trying to understand what responsibility is been taken by the top level management and how they are committed in terms of their work. Now, definitely when we try to see, the top level employees have a higher level of a commitment compared to the middle and the bottom level. So, to have or to bring that level of commitment from the low level and the middle level, they have the reverse way of the understanding. So, that the requirement of the low level, when it is been understood more better and better, the coordination among the employees will be more better and better. That is what the importance of the inverted pyramid as such. So, under the inverted pyramid, we have the process said that the coordination will be more better, since the understanding of the low level is at the level of the top level, and the top level is also been understanding to what difficulty it will be at the low level as such. Okay. Now, coming to the next one, we will have a small video. So, you have seen the short video on the way of growth of an individual from a small level to the level of an organization handling capability. All this could be possible by holding or having a good decision making process, and also having an structure, making the structure more designed in a more better manner as such. So, these are the two process of in terms of holding. One, the decision making was been good, and the structure which was been framed and had a changeover over the years to year. There had been a change in the structure also, but both had been implemented to the success of the particular organization. Now, coming to the next one, we will have the question and answer session of the format in the objective format. Now, there are 5 questions, just read through the 5 questions and do answer the 5 questions. Right. Now, the answer to all the 5 questions is option number B. So, for all the questions, the option number B is the correct answer, right. So, the close of the session.